final round of the PRL Indy Pro 2000 Elite Series, and it happens right here at Lucas Oil Raceway. The very small oval plays host to our championship finale. The champion has been decided, that is Greg Seitz, but the battle is on for third on back in the points. We'll be keeping a close eye on that over the course of today's action. You'll see it all live right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. My name is Ryan Jones, and alongside me as always is Oshin Pahaka, and Jake Peak is behind the scenes using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And let's take a closer look at this 1.1 kilometre or 0.6 mile racetrack with our GSRC track guide.
Lucas Oil Raceway, formerly known as Indianapolis Raceway Park, sits about a 7-mile drive up Crawfordsville Road from the legendary Brickyard. The list of names that have run here since the oval track opened in 1961 is about as long and distinguished as the names that adorn the Borg Warner Trophy. Lucas Oil Raceway was a stepping stone, a building block, to get a chance to taste that milk in Victory Lane at IMS. But don't let that fool you. The racing here can be just as intense. The 12 degrees of banking, the shape of the turns, mean that this 0.69 mile short track is one of those that the High Line became famous at. The long way around is the fast way at Lucas Oil Raceway. As what happened to the big house down the street, stock cars became more prevalent in the 1990s. NASCAR Grand National and trucks made regular stops here the weekend of the 400 well into the 2000s. But stock cars have waned in recent years, with now only ARCA being the main stock car show at the Speedway. Now, into the 2020s, we at GSRC echo the legendary Dave Despain on ESPN that turned the spotlight on Midwest open wheel racing, and we get ready to call this race at Lucas Oil Raceway.
Welcome back. A look there at the Lucas Oil Raceway facility. What more can you tell us about this place, Ozzy?
Well, Ryan, it's a 0.6 mile, 1.1 kilometer oval. That is surely very exciting. It is the second most famous oval in the Indianapolis region, right after, of course, the a little bit more famous 2-mile oval that is resided close by. This one, however, is about 10 miles off the city center, but it still provides host to many series. One is the Pro Master Championship, as well as the USF 2000 National Championship, of course. USAC and HRA and many other series have races here as well. I think it should be a good venue to host our championship finale, Brian.
Certainly will. And as always, today's race is brought to you by Simsa. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring organizations, companies, manufacturers, teams, and drivers together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. You're also bridging virtual and real motorsports by providing a network between these two, involving sim racers, real drivers, teams, managers, engineers, and of course, motorsport fans alike. You can find out more about how you can get involved at simsa.net, and you can get your company involved with the Global SimRacing Channel. With over 1 million impressions each month, it is a fantastic opportunity to get your brand seen by a broad audience. Just head to the link in the description to find out more. Let's take a look at how our championship looks then. Greg Seitz has a 39-point lead. That means he's clinched it by a point. Joshua Chin will have to settle for second after chasing him down for much of the season. And then Nicholas Delp, David McDonald, David Soror battle for P3, well and truly alive between those three drivers.
Indeed, it is. And we also have the team's championship here on PRL, as per usual, as with many series. And it's the same story as for most of the season, with Rust Racing Steel leading the championship. However, Team Talent has claimed second place from Rust Racing Iron. Those two are still in close contention for that second position and the silver platter here. Lavoie Motorsports in fourth and Team Talent 3 wide in fifth place, and they're not too far away from that P number 3 either. And as for your race details today, well, we'll be racing for roughly Well, I say roughly 55 minutes or 130 laps, depending on which one comes first. If we get a lot of yellows, it's going to be 55 minutes. Open setup for these drivers, which means these cars can be adjusted to the will of the team and driver. It is the final round of the series. You get a drive-through penalty at 11 incidents, which has to be served during green flag running, and you get disqualification at 20 incidents. Bonus points for the pole position, fastest lap, and having 3 incident points or less.
There you go. That's everything you need to know ahead of our 130 lap race around Lucas Oil Raceway tonight. Qualifying is just about complete. Declan Indy, the only driver who hasn't set a time, his wheel not working, he says in the chat, so he might not be able to make the start of this one. So with that, let's take a look at how they line up for our final race of PRL Indy Pro 2000 Series here on GSRC. Austin Espedy has the pole, and Andrew Wood will start alongside him, just 0.04 of a second separating them. Nicholas Delp and Joshua Chin start 3rd and 4th ahead of Andreas Ike and Daniel Zegers on row 3. Mitchell Ian Green and David McDonald occupy the 4th row of the grid ahead of Jean-Francois Mattei and Alex Goyon.
Indeed, Daniel Krenfus starting 11th. Alongside him will be Aaron Ruffs in row number 6, and in row number 7, Mark McDonald and Declan Needy, who suffered from those wheel issues, now said up and running on the chat. So we might just get 14 drivers in this final race, Ryan.
And you'll note, no Greg Seitz here today. We know he hasn't felt comfortable on the ovals all season long, and was very relieved to clinch the championship before heading to this oval to finish off our championship. So he opts to take a break and start his vacation early.
Indeed. And how about Austin Espedy on the pole position? He is 20th in the point standings, only having finished 4 races this season. He has 4 did not starts and did not finish from the last race, but he's looking for a great result from out here today, and will be interesting to see him chasing for that first victory of the season. That would be what a way to settle this one off.
And the weather for these drivers, it's pretty hot out there on the racetrack, and a lot of wind as well. It's 45 degrees Celsius track temp, and the wind is about 23 kilometers an hour, so they're going to get some pretty big gusts as they go around this racetrack, which they'll have to contend with as well. The thing with Espedy being on pole, if he doesn't get a good launch, he might lose the lead, because this is an outside racetrack. You want to be running up on that top line, and pole position push you down low. So
yep,
you've got to make sure you get that launch.
Yeah, you do have to, and thankfully it's a bit easier with the rolling start as opposed to a standing start, which wouldn't really make sense on an oval anyway. And Andrew Wood could be challenging him into turn number 1, but he also has the shorter trajectory. So Ryan, I think his best chance is to take the best start possible, and then just, use the shorter track and try to run up in front of Wood. Of course, if he's alongside, that doesn't work, but yeah, he's gonna have to be aggressive on the start, otherwise he runs the risk of getting caught down low and having a lot of people pass him.
Yep. Definitely chances though, you can really throw it in down low on the entry, try and slide from front, dirt track style. But I don't think with these cars, you want to be risking contact quite that much. We'll have 2 laps behind the guide of the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car before we go green here at Lucas Oil Raceway to finish off our season. It's been a season dominated by Greg Seitz and Joshua Chin, but with no Seitz and Chin starting from 4th, this is a great opportunity for someone else to put their mark on the season.
Indeed, with Greg setting his sights on the golf course, I think it's a chance for Austin or Andrew or Nicholas potentially grabbing the win here. We'll see soon, Ryan.
That was terrible.
I know.
Just truly terrible. Well, puns aside, we can look to the start now. Espedy in control of the field, coming to the green for 130 laps. Andrew Wood tried to judge the start, but he couldn't do it. Espedy jumps away well, already 3 wide behind them into turn 1. Nicholas Delp puts himself into second with Ike alongside him. Wood falls to fourth.
Back as well, everybody making it through lap 1, it seems, all the way to the back as well. A little bit of shuffling there, but so far so good. And look at the racing here. Oh, and there's contact. Alex Guillon is in the wall on the start of lap number 2. Aaron Ruff's involved as well. Guys from 13th and 11th, Alex Guillon and Aaron Ruff's in the wall, and that's pace car.
So how did this happen? As we get a look at our GSRC replay, on the outside of 2 wide for both of them. Contact from down low. Aaron Rouse had nowhere to go as Alex Goyon was hit from below.
Yeah, that was a vicious impact, and we'll see another look with it as well coming from the replay here. I think it was coming to turn number 1. I think the contact was initiated by Daniel Krenfus. Yes, it was Krenfus on the inside. Hitting there and hitting Alex Guillon in turn number 1. You'll see it on the slow motion here. A little bit of netcode involved in that one, and well, poor Aaron Ruffs was really a passenger there, wrong place at the wrong time, and that's what happens.
Rough race for him. He'll be a lap down. Just 2 laps into the event. Alex Goyon as well. Lap 4 of 130. It seems like a long way. The lap times here were only 18 seconds. Pole position was a 18.4 from Osman Esfidi. So if we get a green flag running, we'll get there pretty quickly. And if we keep getting cautions, we'll hit that 55-minute limit before we get to our scheduled race distance. In terms of expected fuel range, well, Aussie?
I think they're gonna have to pit at least once during this race because you have the fuel limited pretty strictly. So that means I think they're gonna come in at the latest at about lap 90 or 100. They're not gonna quite make it all the way with the 65% fuel limit, but they're gonna make it most of the way. And we're gonna see a lot of these drivers also come into the pit lane for some new tires at some point during this race, we expect. And I don't think, well, I'm hoping it is, but I don't think it is going to be the last caution we see either. So not surprised to not see any one of the leaders opting to the pit lane quite so early.
Limited to 26 litres or 6.9 gallons in that racetrack, in that race car on the racetrack. So definitely a 1-stopper, maybe a 2-stop, depending on how many green flag laps we get in here. As the lights go out on the pace car, and we'll get set for a restart. Single file restart, so a little bit of pressure relieved from Austin Esfidi in terms of getting a launch here. And Andrew Wood will be hoping for a much better start than he got last time. He dropped 2 spots.
Yellow teaser for the leaders to manage as the safety car, pace car makes its way to the pit lane.
Alright, let's try this again. Coming to the green at Lucas Oil Raceway. Esfidi in control. And he plants that right foot, and we go racing for the 2nd time today. Green flag in the air. And a good launch for Esfidi. Look for about 4th on down. A few drivers try to make some early moves down into 1 and 2.
Yeah, clean all the way back as well. David McDonald, the other one, trying to make moves to the inside, but otherwise it looks like the outside line is the king so far. And all clean to 1. Let's see if they can make it clean to the next lap as well. And looks like they will so far, right?
Daniel Kranfus is side by side with Declan Edie. Edie down on the bottom side, trying to take that spot away. He will carry some good momentum down through the low side of the corner. And now Kranfus is going to be careful because Mark McDonald wants to get by him as well, and he will. So Kranfus drops to 12th, final car on the lead lap. Maybe carrying a bit of damage from that contact earlier on.
Yeah, could be. Meanwhile, up in the 5th position, there's a good battle going on as well with Andrew Wood, Josh Chin, and Daniel Seegers. Actually, Seegers is one challenging Chin for the 5th, as further ahead of them, Wood and Delp are fighting for 3rd place, and I think Ryan Wood is the kind of guy who wants to get back to the front soon. He started 2nd, is now down in 4th, and seems to be a little bit stuck behind Nicholas Delp.
front. Andrew Wood is going to get it, and he takes P3 back away from Dolp, so he regains one of the spots he lost on the first lap of the race. 1.8 seconds away, maybe 2 seconds away from Espedy, though. About 1.2 back from Ike, who runs in second on board with Dolp. And you can see that they don't want to take exactly the same line as the car in front. Just want to get some clean air on that nose.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit treacherous for these guys if they want to take the high line right behind someone, because you get the understeer as we have kind of going on for 8, 9, and 10 at the moment, Nickel and other guys, a little bit close to each other. But yeah, you don't want to be too close to the car ahead if you're running the outside line, because if you're going to wash wide on the entry of the corner, which happens so easily with the understeer on the dirty air, then, well, guess what's waiting for you? That's a wall, and that's the one thing you don't want to hit around these racetracks. So it's quite clever to see these guys just taking it a little bit more to the inside when running right behind someone and trying not to hit the worst of that dirty air.
Jean-Francois Mattei is hunting for a run to get by Mitchell-Ian Green, who's doing pretty well as a rear gunner right now for his teammate, David McDonald, just in front of him. And this is a 4-car little train with Death Meaty just behind as well. No one really finding any notable progress here.
No, and Ryan, Nickel-Meaty, of course, was really fast on the oval rounds earlier on this season. Oh, and Mattei hits the wall, and there's going to be Edie to the inside. I was just going to say he was good on the oval rounds early on and had the class, but had the wheel not working in qualifying, and that's why he started last, making a bit of an error there. Maybe still trying to find his confidence around the whole race.
Gotta be sure we call this track Lucas Oil Raceway and not Lucas Oil Speedway, which is located in Missouri.
Is that really? Is there really? Because I didn't actually know that. I did not know that there was a Lucas Oil Raceway and a Lucas Oil Speedway.
There's one of each. And well, the Lucas Oil Speedway is a dirt track.
Oh.
On iRacing.
Whoa, that's interesting. Well, okay, go figure it's a dirt track, then it's not going to be so confusing as Mattei goes up to the inside of Green. Let's see if he can make it work with Edie getting a little bit loose behind him.
He did a good job to actually correct that. That would have been very easy to just fire up into the fence or spin around. He had to really backpedal. That's what caused the wiggle from the back end. As he tags the fence, John Fontaine Mattei had a big run on Mitchell Green. Couldn't do anything with it though.
No, and they keep battling here on now. Nickel and Edie getting a little bit, finding a couple of mistakes. Oh, and here goes Mattei, and he's around, and he's getting tagged by Cranefuss, I think. I think Cranefuss gave him a little bit of a tap there as Mattei is around and yellow flag is out.
Replay. Down the back straight. Main straight, even. Up into turn 1. Rear end slowly goes, and there she goes around, and Cranefuss get him. Yes, but I reckon they've escaped without damage.
Yeah, wasn't too bad. Here we see again Cranefuss on board with him. They're going to come to the main straight. You're going to see Mattei go around to the inside pretty soon there, and then just Cranefuss, you know, watching. Is he going to come back? Yeah, he's going to come back nicely to the inside, and just a little bit of a love tap, and I think you're right, no damage there.
Cranefuss did come to pit lane. After that, so potentially.
I think he was just checking. I mean, he was all the way to the back anyway, so he might as well come to the pit lane and check if he has any significant damage, and if not, then just motor on his merry way.
Yeah, this place used to have a road course as well.
Oh,
it was used for USAC racing and Sports Club of America, but apparently it was closed because of an insurance investigation into the pit exit. So no more road course.
Yeah, Insurance investigation into the pit exit of a road course. That's a new one to me. That is a new one to me as well, and that's quite interesting. And of course, a lot of interesting oval road courses in America that are quite old. I mean, everybody pretty much knows the Indy road course and the Daytona road course, of course. Some people may know the Homestead road course or the Phoenix road course. Well, that's not so famous, but like my favorite US road course has to be the one on New Hampshire Motor Speedway, because the one that goes all the way outside of the track, and then you get a bank turn as well, and then you come back to the oval, and when you come back to the oval, it's kind of, there's a little bit of a jump that if you race it with open wheelers, you actually feel that it can damage the wing. But it's so much fun with something like a Legends car, and I think even the Legends cars have held their world finals on the NHMS 1 year.
There you go. Just realised as well that Mario Andretti won his first IndyCar race at the road course version of this racetrack.
Oh, that's quite a fact. That's quite a fact, of course.
First time that they ever raced on a road circuit, actually, the American IndyCars.
That's very interesting. That is very interesting, and if that's true, that's one of those big if true things, because that's one of those facts you can pull out anytime, and people are not going to be ready for it as the pace car comes in, and I think these drivers will be ready for it.
Set for the restart. Restart number 2. There we go. SPD gets away well once again. They are stacked up though. In the mid-pack, McDonald looks to the inside of Zegers. Can't complete it. Joshua Chin tucked right up under the rear wing of Nicholas Phelps. As well hard into the fence goes Declan Eady. And that car has gone crunch down the right side.
Ooh, that was a scary impact, I'll tell you what, with the 27 Michelin green, and you're going to see the replay here. Edie is going to be just stuck on the outside. There's a little bit of contact. Edie is getting a bit loose, and man, he ate it. He absolutely ate it.
And just ran himself out of room, trying to get to the outside there.
See, I'm not an expert, but I don't think that car's going to be running anymore.
No, I think you might be right there. Hey, we're going to go to a quick break with that marking our second caution in the space of 1 lap here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll come back for the restart here at Lucas Oil Raceway. And away we go. How about that for timing? Espedy, third time of asking, and third golden restart to get us back racing onto lap 33 of 130. Keeping him for reasonably close company. Andreas Eick still, with Andrew Wood back into third. Joshua Chin taking away P4 from Nicholas Delp. And that gives a run to Daniel Zegers as well down to the inside. So Delp going to lose out 2 spots here on this restart.
Maybe not.
Although,
no.
He tried to get back to the outside. Very quickly ran out of room. Make it -3 as David McDonald goes by as well.
Yeah, that was a great try from Delp. I think he had a run on the outside, but I think he saw that Zegers was going to close the door. You know, he was running into a closing door, and he would rather not have a meeting with the wall at this stage and would rather take the hit. But look at Ike and Wood. They're really having a good battle. Well, they were having a good battle for the second place. Wood is really all over the back of Ike, and he's showing the pace he had in qualifying in these race conditions. And I think he is wishing for a little bit of a longer run so he can fully showcase that. He's getting close now.
Just needs to get a run so we can get alongside and then get by on the low side. Here we go. He's backed up the corner. Got the power down early. This is the run he needs. Looks to the inside, but he hasn't got enough momentum to carry through the corner. And that allows Ike to hold on up top. As a lapped car stays low and stays out of the way. Espedy's gap out to a second now, so it doesn't seem like Andreas Ike at the moment has pace to go with him. Andrew Wood might, but he's got to get some clean air. Nicholas Delp also under a lot of pressure, running in 6th. Got back by David McDonald, but hasn't got away from him.
No, not yet. He was P number 3 in qualifying, the third fastest driver in qualifying, but in the race conditions, he doesn't seem to quite have the pace compared to the other guys who are running in front of him. You look at David McDonald behind, and even he is catching up to Delp with Michelin Green right behind. So it seems to be forming into a couple of packs, as once again the second place is getting closer and closer with Wood and Ike having a little bit of a tussle. But so far, Ryan, it seems like Wood just can't have the outside line and he can't get by on the inside.
Yep, tough to pass in this place. In the stock cars that often come here for official racing, normally in the weeks of those, or actually a race in the real world, you can really throw it into the corner. You can use a bit of the bumpers sometimes to open up and move and make it stick down low for a few laps. These cars, being quite downforce dependent, well, you can't afford to use the bumper because there are none, and you'll find yourself on the fence straight away. And you can't stick it down low because you're carrying maximum speed around the top of the racetrack as it is.
Yeah, you can't really, so-called, bump and run here, or even give a little bit of the bumper. By the way, Ryan, do you know why Batman was left alone?
Oh God.
Because Robin is racing.
Nah. Just nah.
Yeah. Okay, so Wood here, anyway, he's still trying to catch up to Ike, and I find it really interesting to compare these lines between these two drivers, because in the middle of the stint, well, can't really say middle of the stint, but as the tires have warmed up, it looks to me, Ryan, that Andreas Ike is taking it a little bit more to the inside here, whereas Wood seems to be, at least on 1 and 2, hugging it right up to the outside, staying closer to the wall. Let's see if that's the case here again. Yeah, it is. So he's taking a different line. He is taking a higher entry and then getting the car lower on the middle of the corner.
It's a reverse diamond.
Yeah.
Normally you go in low, wash up high, come back down low for the exit. That's the traditional diamond line, but this is the reverse.
It's
and
the hourglass. It's the hourglass line, I think. Yeah. Hourglass, reverse diamond, maybe. Shape.
It's fast.
Yeah.
P7. David McDonald, Michelin Green, Daniel Cranefus. These guys have been here pretty much all race. As Goyon tumbles further down the order. He's 23 laps off the lead, by the way, after that contact to bring out the first caution. Aaron Ralph's 45 off, Gapanini 20 off, and then Jean-Francois Mattei is 1 lap down in 11th.
So interestingly, I think Alex Guillaume will be only racing for, I think, 3 or 2 more laps because Tickle Needy has already retired and has left the server. And Alex Guillaume still has a car which can run around the track, so I think he's just looking for the positions. A couple of more points here, and then gonna retire as well as Cranfield is running on the inside.
Does he have the momentum? He does. It's Michelin Green can't keep the speed up to the corner. And that allows Daniel Cranefus to take that spot away. Now he's got the top line to himself. He can move up. And he is comfortably into P8. And as they exchange spots, it actually allowed Mark McDonald to close up that green.
Yeah, so David McDonald and Mark McDonald as well, both involved in that battle for 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship, of course. Nicholas Delp currently P number 3 with 212 points. Then it's David McDonald with 203 and Mark with 199. And all of them, or I should say, none of them are close to the lead of this race as it stands right now. Delp is 6th, David 7th, and Mark is in 10th place, as Mark McDonald actually comes to the pit lane. Very interesting to see here what's Mark's strategy, because this is quite early. I wonder if he picked up a drive-through penalty here. No, he's coming to the pit stall, and I think he's opening up our green flag stops here. A pretty quick stop, just a couple of seconds, then off he goes once again.
I think we could say, based off this, the fuel window is about 80 laps. You'd imagine he'd be able to make it home from here.
Yeah, could be. That could actually be it. That's a good call, because I don't think he's banking on any more yellows. He's just banking on, you know, getting it safe home from here. I mean, he lost a lap there, but he can make the lap back if he catches up to Mitchell Ian Green here. I think we do have Lucky Dogs here, or wave around, so he can get his lap back maybe. And it could be a preferred strategy for him at this point to run in clear air, as opposed to what Daniel and David are doing there on P number 7, P number 8. They're running pretty close together here. 47th place here, Ryan, and you're gonna lose a lot of time if you're Daniel Cranfos running behind a slightly slower driver.
You know who isn't losing time? Austin Espedy.
Oh yeah.
2.5 second lead, and even with that car, oh, now he loses 3 tenths. He clears Michelin Green. Up until that point, he was pulling out the lead over Andreas Eick, who has pulled away from Wood, but isn't showing enough pace to run down our race leader. Wood's pretty comfortable in 3rd. Well clear of Joshua Chin in 4th, and Zeger's in 5th. The field a little bit spread out at the moment. The closest battle is David McDonald and Daniel Cranfus.
Yeah, but we've been watching that one for a bit, and Cranfus still behind David McDonald as of right now. Will be also interesting to follow the lap times of these guys and how this battle David and Daniel do in comparison to, for example, Mark McDonald. And if you want to follow it yourself at home, well, you can head over to GSRC.tv for our live timing and scoring, so you can follow all the lap times you want and follow your favorite driver throughout the race, as we are running on the nose cone of Mark McDonald, the Illinois driver currently sitting in 9th place.
A lap down, but made his pit stop. What lap times is he running then? 18.9 last lap. Espedy did a 18.6, so he's still not got the pace to match our race leader. He didn't take tyres though, so that's the reason for that.
Yeah, and he's also got a heavier fuel load at this point, so that's something that has to be taken into consideration. But he's running faster than David McDonald at the moment. David did a 19.0 last time by. Let's see if that trend continues here. A 19.0 once again, and so did Daniel. So steadily, slowly but surely, Mark McDonald is catching them up while he's running on the clear air, as these two guys are pretty much locked in a bit of a battle here. And Alex Guillaume still interestingly making laps around the track despite being multiple laps down.
So why wouldn't you take tyres in this one with still over half the race to go?
Green flag stop, maybe. I'm not too sure. Only explanation I can think of, Ryan, is that he wasn't maybe happy with how the cold tires felt. He wanted to kind of like warm up the tires before getting out of the pits, and didn't want to risk, spinning out with cold tires. Maybe he was thinking that he has the pace right now locked down, so didn't want to take the risks. I can't think of any other reason why you wouldn't take tires, because in such a race, in an oval especially, it is such a big advantage. Even you can take just right sides only, as Cranefoss is on the inside.
Finally, can he get that move done? With the overlap, with the nose in front. With the exit, though, it's going to be up top that prevails, and still side by side.
And
Can't
McDonald
get it
comes
done.
out in front. Yeah. Nice try.
Daniel Zegers, by the way, has come to pit road as well. And he returns a lap down.
Yeah, so let's see where Zegers comes out in comparison to Mark McDonald, for example. So Zegers is out right now, and he's sitting in 8th place by the looks of things, and David's about to lap him. So Zegers is right there in a bit of a mix, in all by his lonesome, it looks like. 8th place, yeah, he's ahead of Mark, and he too has a bit of a gap of his own, I think, and can start putting the lap times in here. So I think we're gonna see more and more of that as they go on. I think they're realizing that what Mark McDonald is doing, especially if you're someone who's locked in a battle, I would say, it would make sense for guys like Andrew Wood from 3rd place, for example, to come to the pit lane, and I think it would make sense for... Or David, yeah. He's actually coming to pit lane ahead of the driver he was fighting with.
The lap time drop-off isn't that big. McDonald's last lap... Oh, overshoots his pit stall. McDonald's last lap was a 19.0, 18.9, 18.9. His fastest lap of the race is an 18.8. So he's dropped off by about a 10th and a half at most. Another reason why I'm not seeing tyres being taken.
Yeah, could be. Not just not using the tire all that much, really. And when you look at the speeds they're running here, and you look at the kind of track it is, well, it is an outside track, but I would think it uses a bit more tire than seems to be the data. But, I've been wrong before, and I will be wrong again as Chin comes to the pit lane again. So we're seeing a lot of these drivers actually take it to the halfway. So 75 laps, well, 74 laps in, that's halfway through the race in one lap, and Chin splits his stride in half. Gonna be very interesting, Ryan, if we do get a late yellow, say get a yellow in 5 to 10 laps and there is somebody who hasn't quite hit it yet. Will be very interesting to see how far they can climb with a lot of these guys that lap down, including... Oh, and Zegers... Yeah, go on.
Daniel Zegers, he jumped Joshua Chin with that earlier stop. I wonder what the pit stop comparison is with those two drivers. Chin might have overshot his pit box. That's a pretty good stop then for Daniel Zegers to jump Chin by quite some margin. He was 4 tenths quicker in the stop, and he was... That's the difference in the lane, so just on pace alone on the racetrack.
Yeah, and entry and exit as well. So that's one of the big things people often overlook when you talk about oval pit stops, especially. It's so easy to lose a lot of time on the pit entry if you're being a little bit too careful on the braking here, and Chin was a little bit careful. He was stopping a little bit early and just, losing a bit of time. Not too much, but enough to lose that position. And
Andrew Wood
comes
to pit road. Andreas Sykes slowly reeling in Austin Espedy because he's getting some tough luck from lap traffic at the moment. Lap traffic that's not really lap traffic because he hasn't pitted and they have. Mark McDonald just got pinged another lap.
Yeah, and Andreas Syke actually came to the pit lane just before that lap traffic. So I think that was a genius move from Ike. You know, before he caught up to the lap traffic, he might as well pit now and not lose any time, not lose the same time that our race leader lost. So I think that's a good move for Mike. And he also
He's
had to
taking
respawn
tires.
the wood. Oh.
This could be interesting then. So he'll come out lap down. And does Austin Espedy respond to him? No, he doesn't. Stays out on the racetrack.
And Wood's going to be pretty close. Yeah.
Andreas Ike's going to rejoin right in front of Andrew Wood and Joshua Chin, and behind Daniel Zegers. Where did he come from?
Let's see. Daniel
Silver
Zegers.
bullet.
Yeah, he came like a bullet out of nowhere. Daniel Zegers, let's see. Midwest US. We don't have any further information on that.
I gave you credit. You're relentless.
Yeah. And right now, Wood's actually fancying his chances against Ike. The pass we didn't see on the first stint. He is looking to make it on the second stint, but he can't do it. And Josh Chin behind him is actually getting a run on Wood and getting past on the inside maybe. Nah. And that's what makes overtaking so difficult here, Ryan. You said it early on in the broadcast and it looks to be holding true. It's an outside track and passing on the inside is going to be very, very difficult during the course of this evening. You basically need the guy on the outside to make a mistake.
Here comes Espedy then. From the lead to pit lane, leaving just Cranefoos yet to make his pit stop. And Espedy rejoins behind Zegers. So Daniel Zegers has emerged as the effective race leader.
That's very interesting if true. Effective race leader, you said. Oh yeah, Espedy has come behind him. Let's see the pit stop comparison between Espedy and Zegers, and look at that. And I'm looking at it right now from GSRC.tv. And it's only 1/10 faster for Espedy. It's actually faster for Espedy, yeah. So I think it was just the timing with the pit stop for Daniel Zegers and putting in some good lap times because let's face it, he has put in 18.5 last time around, 18.4 being his best lap. I think it's just his race pace, Ryan. I think that could be the thing that's turning this race towards Daniel Zegers. And I must tell you, I'm supposed to be the analyst here, supposed to be the commentator guy who's keeping an eye on these things, but I did not quite see that one coming.
Here comes Cranefoos then, and everyone has now made their pit stops. This will leave Daniel Zegers as our race leader from Austin Espedy, a second back. Andreas Ike and Andrew Wood sitting third and fourth. Daniel Cranefoos going to come out in what looks like about 8th position. Very close to going lap down, actually. About a quarter of a lap to the good there.
Yeah, so the leading battle is actually quite close right now. You got Zegers, and then you got Espedy, who is less than a second behind him. And then you got Ike, who is about 7/10 behind our former race leader, Austin Espedy. And then you got Andrew Wood as well, who is still stuck behind Andreas Ike. So very curious to see how this one turns out. And I'm just going to briefly take a look at where Zegers is in terms of points. And I am announcing you right now that Zegers is sitting 21st. So he is also one of those drivers who just hasn't had the luck this season. But he is another team talent driver who has come here on the final over round and is looking to make amends perhaps for his lackluster season so far. But what Zegers does have is a win from this season. He won in round number 7 last time we were at the Oval.
He did. So he's good on the ovals, and he's showing it again today. But he's not got much margin to play with right now, because here comes Espedy. Right underneath the rear wing, tucked up behind the gearbox, David McDonald and Jean-Francois Mattei about to go another lap down, which could hamper one of these drivers, or both of them. Let's see. Off the corner, Zegers just gets to his inside. And he's being held up now. So Espedy might be able to take advantage of this. Zegers is unable to get up to the top line, so he's being compromised. He's caught down low through the corners. David McDonald is really getting in the way of Daniel Zegers. Not through any fault of his own, though. Now Zegers is able to clear him, and Espedy will look to come with him, but now Espedy's got to clear McDonald as well, and he does that very easily.
Yeah, I think David finally let off a little bit, but this let the leaders too wide as we have a lapping situation ahead of them as well, so Espedy is looking to the inside now.
Yeah, they're too wide in front of them as well, by the way. Zegers goes by Mark McDonald on the top side. Matei there as well. Zegers trying to clear them both in one fell swoop. That's not going to happen as Espedy follows through as well. Andreas Ike is closing up now off the back of this little group. And there goes Zegers and Espedy by Matei. Now Ike and Wood have the same scenario to unfold. They're almost side by side, and they've got to go around the outside of these guys.
Yeah, that's usually the preferred option, the preferred line here. Andreas Ike looking to the outside, a faster line, but look how much time he is losing. If we jump on board of Wood, you can see the situation here pretty clearly, as you still have Mark McDonald to clear, and here you can see it. Just these guys losing heaps of time. McDonald and Matei, they're not interested in giving way, and why would they? They're in a position battle of their own. They're 8 and 9, fighting for a position here, as are Ike and Wood. And they're looking at leaders running, scampering away lap by lap by lap as we come to 30 to go. So it's one of those situations that is very unique to these small ovals, in that you have to be in the traffic almost constantly. And meanwhile, leaders side by side.
Looking high, looking low, not finding the run. Good pit stop from Zegers has put him out front of the man that led every lap of the race until the pit stop window, who we would argue that probably has the best car out there today. But track position is so key around this racetrack, it's very hard to pass here at Lucas Oil Raceway. And Zegers right now using that to his full advantage in that silver bullet. And only 26 laps, 27 laps to go.
Yeah, so it's one of those races that didn't look to be a thriller early on. We saw Espedy running away with it pretty much, and then we got a couple of yellows, and I think a lot of drivers and a lot of viewers and even us here in the booth were wondering if it's going to be another one of those process races where it's just going to be, you know, a process until the end with no championship on the line. But it's turning out to be a real nail-biter. Come to the end of this event with lap traffic putting their hand into the mix, and with the storyline of Espedy, who's been the fastest man throughout most of this event, now playing catch up to Daniel Zegers, who's suddenly finding himself on the verge of another victory at the Oval here this season. So he's really turning into a bit of a specialist, and I think that's one of the most interesting things about this series, Ryan, is that you got the oval guys and you got the road course guys, and then you got the hybrids who can do a bit of both and do both really well. But then you, at the oval rounds, you have these guys who are sort of like, you know, really on their own here, and on the road course they're doing the best they can, and then on the road course you have guys like Greg Seitz, the champion, who is not a fan of ovals at all. So I think that makes for an interesting dynamic where we could have some really surprising names in front when you look at the championship standings, but they're really left-turn specialists.
That margin's opening now, isn't it? From Zegers to Espedy.
Yeah,
and Zegers starting to run away. Has Espedy got anything left to fight him with? As Andreas Ike lurks 2.2 seconds away. 1.7 away from Espedy. Probably too far back to challenge him at this point, barring a mistake. Still carrying Andrew Wood around in his back pocket. 20 laps to go,
hello.
and caution is going to
Michelin
fly.
Green. Yeah, number 27, Michelin Green. He's had a self-spin in turn number 2. We're gonna see a replay of it right now. He's gonna come to the corner. He's gonna be on the inside of Mark McDonald here and just self-spinning, taking the low line, and I think he ran out of grip there because this is a high line track, trying to take it as fast as he can and then just taking it around the track and, well, another caution.
That's going to give us a restart with about 15 laps to go. Does anyone come to pit road and strap on some fresh rubber?
Ooh, that could be interesting. That could be an interesting one if they make it.
Like it, because track position. Chin comes in and Delp comes with him. David McDonald opts to stay on the racetrack, so does Mark McDonald. So 2 cars take the gamble. But we've seen how important track position is. Somewhere on this racetrack is a drag strip, and it sure as hell isn't in the middle of the racetrack. So I'm assuming it's on the outside somewhere. On the other side of the front grandstand, says our director. What happened to Joshua Chin's car on pit road there? Are we going to acknowledge that?
Okay, so
Oh, there it is.
On the right side you can see a drag strip there, and well, this track is, I think it's owned actually by the National Hot Rod Association, the NHRA, which of course runs the biggest and meanest drag races in the world, at least outside of those ones that are running outside of my house every single night, it seems, by 2 guys on mopeds who are 15 or 16 years old and think that the loudest moped which doesn't go anywhere is attractive to girls their age. Anyway,
I've just had a vision of Ozzy stepping out onto his front lawn with the newspaper in his hand, yelling at them to get off the street.
Get off my lawn!
Yeah.
I'm turning old, I just realized, and not just according to my
Mate, that boat sailed a long time ago.
I think you're right. But yeah, interesting point about this race actually, and why Chin and Del took it to the pit lane. Track positions important, yes, but they were 5th and 6th, respectively, Josh Chin and Nicholas Del. And now they're 6th and 7th. So they basically lost 1 position because everybody else behind them, they're 1 lap or more down. So, you know, he could afford to take the gamble and see what happens here on the later portions of this race.
And Ziga's been disappointed about this because he was just starting to get a bit of a gap and feel a bit comfortable. And now Espede's dragged right back up to his gearbox. Andreas Saikanen, who would have an opportunity to go with the race leaders again after really being disadvantaged by that big pack of lap traffic we had about 10 laps ago. Kranefoos, they're in 5th, plus 6 in the race so far for him, started 11th, and then Chin and Delp from 6th and 7th with the fresh rubber. How much extra pace do they have? And if it's a lot, are they even able to utilize it on a track where it is harder to pass? Lights out on the pace car, coming back to the green with 14 laps to go.
Yeah, gonna be very interesting of a restart as well. I think SPD would be best served to be a little bit aggressive with this one, and Andrea Syke as well gonna be probably looking to make amends. Let's see what the guys can do with the fresh rubber as well. Here we go, Ryan.
Daniel Zegers controls the field for the first time. SPD does not have a clear track in 2nd. Coming to the restart. 14 laps to go at Lucas Oil Raceway. 14 laps left of the season. And it is a great jump for Daniel Zegers. Green flag is back out here at Lucas Oil.
Josh Chin already passed Daniel Kranefoos for 5th place in turn number 1 on the inside with no effort at all. He's absolutely flying with the new tires.
Delp spins though. Delp struggled and he spins and he finds the fence. Caution back out.
That could be, well, that was obviously race ending for Nicholas Delp because he's just hauling his 3-wheel wagon around. And here you see, he tried to do what Josh Chin did. but lost the grip on the inside, and that was a bit clumsy hitting the wall there. I thought he was going to do a neat little Knight Rider there, 360 and continuing, but instead he just lost it and very easy. Yeah.
Chin making that move stick, and Dolp says, okay, I'll have some of this. No, it doesn't work. Yeah, I've got no grip. Cold tires. Gotta be wary.
Yeah, and just goes to show you how it was so surprising and impressive that Chin was able to make it stick on lap number 1 on the first corner, but might be a bit of a difference in setup and in-car adjustments as well, why Chin was able to do it and Delp wasn't. Mark McDonald opting to take it to the pit lane. He's 1 lap down at this point, so not much to lose with Madej being 2 laps down behind him.
Managed to drag it to pit road on 3 tires as well. May as well call him Lewis Hamilton. So 50 minutes elapsed on the clock for me. 55-minute race. Got to add on the 2-minute.
Yeah. Ryan, race time 46 minutes 31 seconds last time.
Yeah, there you go.
We got 8.5 minutes left in this event. Gonna probably not be timed, but roughly what, 8-9 laps to go as they come across the line next time, maybe 8 laps to go. So gonna be very interesting. And this doesn't play into the hands of Josh Chin at all, who I think was hoping and betting on, this being a 15-lap shootout, so he could maybe get the podium. But there's no chance. But still, he didn't lose anything, because Cranefuss, he got past him anyway, and he was going to be 5th, whatever happens, pretty much, on the previous stint. So it was a birdie gamble, still.
Is this the final restart of the season?
I'm hoping so.
Under 10 laps to go. We'll get the lights out next time. Bye. Joshua Chin wanted it to stay green all the way so we could utilise those fresh tyres. Still restarts from 5th though. It's not a bad spot. If he has enough grip to just run the low side, he could get up to the leaders. But as soon as he has to lift off and tuck in behind someone, he's going to start to find life very difficult.
Unless they actually manage to start battling. Which, if that happens, all bets are off. And let's face it, for Zegers, SPD, Aika, Wood, all of those guys, for Chin too, it's the final race of the season. So you want to win it, of course. And I don't think SPD came here, took the pole position, led for the first half of the race and thought, you know what, I'm going to finish 2nd. Nah, he doesn't think that way. Ryan, but we'll see it soon. It's going to be very exciting.
One last time, potentially, in this season of the PRL Indy Pro 2000 series here on GSRC. Lucas Oil Raceway hosts the finale. Green flag is back out. We cross the line. 8 laps to go, and Zegers leads SPD, Ike, Wood, and Chin through 1 and 2. Where's the pace for Chin? It's not at 1 and 2, and he finds the fence.
Challenge him up to the inside. Let's see if he can pull it off. No, he can't quite. So Josh Chin finding a little bit of understeer there on turns 1 and 2, and I think he was caught out by it, had to lift off, and now he's truly lost touch to the leader. So that fresh rubber not being so fresh. Andreas Ike, however, he's looking really fast here, Ryan. I think he's at least looking for the 2nd place, which SPD is holding on currently as Zegers is running away.
6 to go. SPD's looking good to fend off Ike, but he's 8 tenths away from the leader. Andrew Wood trying to run the top side of the racetrack, trying to do something different to the guys in front, and it's kind of working. Joshua Chin, well, he hasn't got enough grip on those fresh tyres, it would seem, to overcome the downside of not having track position. Good news for him is he hasn't lost a slot compared to where he pitted from, thanks to the quick overtake he made on the first attempt at a restart since the pit stop.
Yeah, and the other bit of good news for Josh Chin is that you got Nick Delp, who already 7 laps down, so he's not being challenged for that 2nd place in the championship either.
No, he's not. 3 laps to go for Daniel Zegers. 8-tenth margin. Back to Austin SPD, who's pushing hard. He had to get out of the throttle then to avoid the fence. Andreas Eick has got Wood closing in, but with 2 laps left, it might be a little bit too late for Wood to get onto the podium.
He's
1 second of the gap. He's trying, but he's about 4 or 5 car lengths back. White flag, final lap of the season. The PRL Indy Pro 2000 Series. Our champion's been decided. Greg Seitz won before we even turned up. But our race winner, Daniel Zegers, what a pit stop phase he had. He wins at Lucas Oil Raceway.
He did excellent result for Daniel Zegers, beating out Austin SPD by a full second in the end. Andreas Eick coming home key number 3 with Andrew Wood 4 and Josh Chin rounding out your top 5. That was actually quite an interesting affair, Ryan. I thought it was a kind of a race of 2 phases, so to speak.
It was, and a great victory for Daniel Zegers. We'll go to a break here on the Global SimRacing Channel, but stay with us on the other side of this, coming back for results and interviews from Lucas Oil Raceway. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway. 130 laps are in the books. We've got our results from a great race in the end. A 1 second winning margin for Daniel Zegers to get it done over Austin Espedy. Andreas Eick steps on to the final step of the podium. Andrew Wood just misses out, home in 4th, starting 2nd. Joshua Chin finished 5th. His tired gamble didn't pay off. Daniel Cranfirst in 6th, last car on the lead lap. Then David and Mark McDonald 7th and 8th, a lap down. John Francois Matei 2 laps adrift. Nicholas Dell 12 laps down after his tyre gamble really didn't pay off.
No, not at all. So Michelin Green 22 laps down, 11th place. Alex Dion 31 laps down, he's retired as well, as is Declan Eady and Aaron Ruffs, who were caught out both in that first lap incident. Both Dion and Ruffs at least were caught out with that one. But a man who wasn't caught out is here next, and he's going to be talking to Ryan Jones.
Yeah, Daniel Zegers, gets it done with a remarkable pit stop phase. You seem to come from nowhere, as suddenly you're leading the race.
Thanks, fellas. What a race there. I don't really know how that worked out. I don't know. I had pretty good pace, but man, once you got in traffic in these cars, God, it was just feel like you couldn't do anything. And I wasn't gaining on Chin, and when I would gain, I'd lose it again by doing something. Just overheating the tires, and then Delp was catching me there, and I'm like, well, I don't got anything else to lose, so I might as well dump it in the pits and see if this will work out. And yeah, when I was buzzing around once I got out, all of a sudden I passed Josh. I'm like, hey, maybe there was something to this. I passed Nick, passed Woody, and it just kept going. And I'm like, man, this is almost too good to be true. And then luckily got the Austin there at the end. Got clean air, and clean air was basically it. So
yeah, track position was very key today. We had that caution come out with, was it 15 or so laps to go? Was there any question in your mind to stay out as opposed to pit? 2 guys tried to pit, Chin dealt, but I think just track position, you knew you couldn't give it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's all about that clean air, and I felt really good about it, even though everybody behind me was all faster, probably faster than me, or not, if not just as fast. And yeah, I guess I wasn't worried about the restart so much as running through that lap traffic there before that caution came out. Man, we were running, Austin and I running 2 wide, 3 wide with some lap traffic, and I really thought I burnt the tires off, but yeah, luckily it worked out. And yeah, man, what an event.
Certainly was. Are you happy with your season overall, how it went? Do you think there was more in it, or you walk away happy?
Oh man, it was a frustrating season. I feel like, obviously the ovals are always going to be fast for our team talent with John, just the mad chef cooking up some serious setups. But from the road side of stuff, I don't know. My goal was top 10 every race in the road. I feel like I really had that pace, but you'll see on the sheet a lot of DNFs. Some which were my fault, some which weren't. But so yeah, a couple wins on some ovals was nice, but everything else was kind of forgettable. So I mean, I'd say, I don't know, it's nice to be on the win column, but the rest of the season wasn't so kind.
Well, you finished it off on a high. That's what counts. Who do you want to thank for helping to get you there today?
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Global SimRacing and you guys for putting this on. Team talent, big thanks. Simza for sponsoring the league. It's been fun. There's a lot of talent in this league, and hopefully a lot of these guys are back. It's a constant battle when you're grinding for practice all week to stay in this league, to try to stay fast. You know it's good. So big shout out to PRL for getting this together too. So
thank you very much. Good job today, and
thanks,
hope to see you again soon here on GSRC.
You bet. Take care.
So Daniel Zegers walks away with the race win, and just falling short despite having a very quick car. Austin Espedy standing by with Aussie.
Indeed, Austin, welcome to the commentary booth and welcome to the interview position. Well, you started off from the pole position. You had a good run early on, and then it just all suddenly fell apart for you. Was it a short stint setup, or what do you think happened?
I think the undercut was definitely faster, and being the leader, I didn't want to get caught out by yellow, so I just had to go as long as I could, and didn't realize how good new tires were on this car because I was still lapping fairly quick in clean air, but it turns out the undercut was just stronger.
Yeah, so, well, it was still a good race for you. Great second place. The result is what counts in terms of points at least. So how about the season overall? Was it a good season for you, Austin? Do you think it's something you can look back and be proud of, or will you be coming back next season to hunt for a top 10 or even a top 5?
It was definitely a good season. I missed a lot of races, but the races I did come in, I think minus last week, was always around top 10 in that area. So definitely coming back next season, hunt for more, show up every race, and hopefully be competitive.
Let's hope so too, Austin. Congratulations for the pole position and the podium out here today. And lastly, we'll let you thank your sponsors or friends, or give a couple of shout outs, Austin.
I want to thank everyone at Team Talent, especially John, for building that absolute rocket ship tonight. It's always a pleasure driving his setups.
Yeah, well, that's credit where it's due. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
And next up, we have our final interviewee talking to Ryan Jones, and he's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, Andrew Wood, you looked promising after qualifying, but a poor start, and it's like you almost couldn't recover from that with the importance of track position.
Yeah, unfortunately, Austin kind of deked me a bit at the start, so yeah, I throttled up a bit, and that made him take off, and I couldn't really keep up on the outside. So yeah, it was tough to come back from that, but it was still a great race.
It certainly was. You had a pretty good battle with Andreas Eick throughout the last half of that one, and the lap traffic made it very interesting as well, didn't it?
Yeah, the lap traffic was actually kind of terrifying, honestly. They seemed to want to get out of the way or not get out of the way, so it was just trying to go into a corner and hope that you don't make the contact, mid-corner. But, I trust the guys in this league, so I didn't have any sort of feeling that it would end the race.
And fourth place, not a bad result for you. Finishing off the championship with the top 5. Who do you want to thank for helping you all season long?
Team talent for sure. We're a big group of guys. We get along really well. We practice for these races, and some of us are a little more tuned for road courses than others. But to be completely honest, the guys on my team really have helped me a lot this season, kind of cultivate my abilities. If you guys didn't notice or not, I was at the back of the field for the first part of the season, and it was pretty demoralizing. But I got a great team of guys behind me, and if we come back next season, we'll be looking pretty strong to challenge on both road and oval. So team talent for sure. PRL for putting on the league. You guys for commentating. You do a really great job every week. It's really fun to watch every single week. So great. Keep it up.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again soon. And good job.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
And that will about do us for tonight's broadcast, I think. And for the season, we're done. That's 10 rounds of the PRL Indy Pro 2000 series. Greg Sykes won the championship. He clinched it last race. He didn't need to turn up today, and he didn't because he's not great on the ovals. He said so himself. But we still had a great fight up and down the order all race long. Thank you as always to Simsa for their continued support of this series and Precision Racing League for putting it all together, and the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. Also, Tuna Lawn, who provides our wonderful music. Take a look at the screen for how to get a hold of any of them. And thanks to the team with me as well today, Joe and Ozzy. You can find out more about GSRC, including all upcoming races at globalsimracingchannel.com, or check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube as well, so you don't miss a moment. Check out the other races listed at the moment. Mark them down in the calendar so you don't miss those. But from all of us here in the booth for tonight, thanks for joining us. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.